What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's up, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
So today's episode is a little bit off the cuff, and we're going to see exactly how it goes. But this is how we used to do episodes back in the day when we started, like September of, what was it, 2020?
I
A
think
long
so,
time
yeah.
ago. We would just
Wow.
sit down in a car, turn on the recording thing, and then just
In
whatever came
chat.
out, came out. You remember?
Yeah, I like that approach. That's a good approch. Because we
Mm-hmm.
like talking, you know?
Yeah, and we all have things going on in our lives, and we can talk about those things. And then, yeah, I keep flipping back and forth between like sometimes I've actually recently I've had it simultaneously, where on one hand I'm like bored, and on the other hand I'm so busy I don't have any time at all, and yet they're coexisting at the same time. That's
Yeah.
like that's my new conundrum that I'm living with.
That's funny, isn't it? When you're bored, but you're busy. It's because
Mhm.
you're probably, part of it's probably because you're doing stuff that you're not super interested in, which has a tendency to make you feel bored. Like, I have a hard time doing that, dude. But like, especially when it comes to like schoolwork and stuff. If I wasn't interested in stuff, man, it is a challenge for me to do it. Like a
Mhm.
challenge. And I start to feel bored doing it because I'm like, this is boring. Like it's like, yeah, it's a tough
Yeah,
one.
it is crazy how much of schoolwork is just busy work. Like I swear they're
Yeah.
just like, well, we need to fill up 12 weeks. So what more can I give them to do?
Wait, and it's funny too. It's like forcing you to like, it's trying to get people to read and stuff. So it's just like assigning all this stuff that like, you probably wouldn't do on your own. you know?
Oh, here's another hilarious thing. So one of my classes, we have these quizzes every week, and they're just like participation quizzes. So you take it as many times as you need
Yeah.
to get 10 out of
Yeah.
10. But the reading assignment and the quiz do not coincide at all.
What?
Like it's the quiz is from different chapters than the reading assignment. And I haven't yet felt like telling him because I don't want to be like, it's 10 free
That
points.
guy.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's like 10 free points. And I'm like, whatever. But every week I laugh because I read the material and then I take the quiz and I'm like, this was not in the material at all. And yeah, so it's fun.
Wait, is the quiz like ahead of where you are then or something? Or
Oh, sometimes it's ahead, sometimes it's behind. I think the quiz, so like the recommended book for this class was the brand new book, clearly, so they can make you buy the new book.
yeah, of
But
course.
I have a feeling that the quiz is probably from an older book, but I don't know which one.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you know what they do with new books? A lot of times they change the chapters around.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
So you can't like go back and use the old book, even though it's the same fucking information. Yeah.
I know. It's so crazy.
Dude, the textbook
Yeah.
companies are a racket and they
Mhm.
are expensive now. They've gotten so expensive, dude, for textbooks. It's insane. Like
I know.
hundreds
It
of
costs like
dollars.
$50 just to rent it for a few
Yeah.
months.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
more like, dude, oh my God. I
Yo,
talked to
but
kids
thank
in
goodness
sciences and
because,
stuff. It's like
yeah,
insane.
thank goodness
Yeah, go
because I
ahead.
don't want to keep these books. I remember in
Yeah.
undergrad, I was like, oh, I'm going to have this great collection of books I can reference for my whole life. And then I was like, God, they're all garbage. Like, who
And they're
actually cares?
heavy.
Yeah, who actually cares? I
Now,
so
Bill,
much more enjoy now books that are enjoyable to read.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say you got to build your own library, because then you build it with stuff that you actually enjoy reading and you might go back to. Not a
Hmm.
bunch of crap that like, is just there for looks and like, I don't know.
Yeah,
How many people have
absolutely.
big libraries and they look at the books and they're like, "Do you ever read that?" And they're like, "No, it's
No,
just up there.
no,
Just looks
no.
nice.
Yep.
I thought it looked smart
Yeah, exactly.
having it on my
Yep.
bookshelf."
I just like
Yeah,
keeping
it's rough.
stuff on my Kindle. That way it can go wherever I go nice and easy.
I was resistant to those things at first, and now I realize I do love it.
Same. I'll be honest, I do miss the smell of books and the feel of books,
Yeah.
but the convenience of the Kindle is just like I have a million books there and it can go wherever I go.
I'll still buy books for certain things because like certain things I do like I find a book is still in some respects easier. Like Kindle's nice because you can search stuff too, dude. You can look, it's so easy to look stuff up too, which you can't do in a regular book. But like, you gotta flip through and find it like a crazy person instead of
Hmm.
just searching by term or something. But yeah, it is nice. It's nice. I don't know. It's technology. That's what it is. You gotta move forward with the times, right?
Yeah. So on another subject altogether, the last
Hmm.
time we were talking a lot about like Marcus Aurelius and death and about contemplating your death
Yes.
in 6 months. And
Oh, how's
then
that going?
crazy. Well, so like that night I told you I had like
Yeah.
a super realistic dream that I had cancer or something and I was like going to die in 2 years and I just wasn't ready for it. And it really shocked me because I thought, like, at least in my conscious waking life, I think like I'm doing pretty much everything that I want to do in my life. And so I thought I was pretty prepared for death. But then when it was actually like there, I was like, why am I dying and everybody else gets to live? Like, that's no fair. And
Yeah, I
yeah, so that
know.
was,
When you told me about that too, I was thinking about that because I it is funny because like I feel like like is there anything wrong with not being? I mean, like even though like so I don't know, can't you accept it, know that's going to happen, even not have regret and not necessarily want it to happen? I mean, it's like is that inconsistent? I don't know if accepting death means you have to like want it necessarily, but like be
mm-hmm.
prepared for it, know it's going to happen, not fight it because you can, I guess, but like you know,
Yeah. I thought, see, like, I thought in my conscious waking life, I thought it would kind of be like a weight off my shoulders, be like, well, at least now I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. Because like
yeah.
nowadays I feel like, oh, I have to, have a good income so I can make some money, so I can live
Yeah.
comfortably in the future. I need to have a career. I need to have relationships, and like all these things. I always thought that like if you know you're gonna die, you're like, wow, there, all that stuff is gone. But it didn't feel like that because as soon as I felt that I was going to die in 2 years, like all of these things that I need to like get ready for, I was like, I don't have a will. And like, what about traveling to these places that I've always wanted to travel to, but I didn't
Yeah.
travel to just because it's inconvenient? And, so like all of these things started coming up.
Afraid because you still have a lot to do. That's the problem. Well,
Mm,
it's funny. Like, so again, I don't know. It's like I was wondering about that after we talked too, because like the this whole idea of accepting death and facing it, because like so many philosophers talk about it, the Stoics among others, and it's what do they mean by it? I guess is the question too, because like I always interpret it as like being aware that it's a reality, facing it as a reality instead of denying it, because it also motivates you to live your life in the right way, to be your best self, to recognize that you don't have infinite time. So I always took it that way. I don't know that you necessarily have to like go smiling to the grave. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can be upset about it. That's not unhealthy, but the fact that you are also dealing with it in your waking life is good because it means you're also like, you're also essentially planning for it and aware of it, right? Rather than just not thinking about it. Because so many people just don't think about it or don't even, they don't even recognize it's a possibility. And then you do, you live your life and it's like you're not even really, you don't have that motivation that comes from limited time. I think that's part
mm,
of it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what's been going on with you recently?
I don't know, lots. Yeah. So here's something. I won't get into the whole thing because it's like whatever, but guilt tripping, right? That whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny
Mm-hmm.
because when that happens, it's like I noticed that like somebody was trying to do that to me last week. And I won't get into details. It
Uh,
doesn't matter. It was a family member,
ah,
but like trying
Dude, I
to,
grew up in a family where that was like a very honed skill. It was like it was
yeah.
passed down generation upon generation.
But they asked me like why I couldn't do something. I told them like they weren't theirs aren't good reasons. And I was like, I don't give a shit whether you think they're good reasons or not. And I was like, it's not the case. I don't care. It's not,
Uh,
like it's my
mm-hmm,
reason. But like it's funny because like it's this, attempt to push obligations onto you and make you feel obligated. Where maybe you
mm-hmm.
are, maybe you're not. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, guilt is an interesting one because it's 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 kind of like when people don't have a good reason for you to do something, but they think you should do it anyways. Then they're like,
Yeah.
how can I make them feel bad about not doing it? I always, yeah, that stuff was something I remember. I remember in my life, I was once engaged to be married,
I
and
remember
it
that.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't something that like I was really gung ho about. It was I, I thought society I was supposed to get married, and everybody in my family was super excited that I was going to be married, and I was kind of like, I guess this is what
It
I'm
was
supposed to do.
confusing. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah, and so. So like I got more and more depressed as it got closer to the wedding, but then like after speaking with my brother and just like really understanding that it was okay to not get married, and even to, because like I was just like terrified. I thought that like I was cornered. I was like, well, I don't want to get married and I can't break this off, so there's no other options. Like, what am
So
I
I'm
supposed to
stuck.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And but like figuring out that it was okay not to get married, and like, so that's what I did. Like it
Yeah.
sucked for a while, and but like
But I
certain
bet it felt
people,
better too.
oh my god,
Yeah.
instantaneously I
Yeah.
felt I felt like a huge weight off my chest. And
Yeah.
but like certain people were very, very upset and were very interested in making me feel guilty about not getting married.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, like, yeah, sure. I ruined her life for a little bit now, but isn't that infinitely better than ruining her life for forever later and then getting divorced anyways? So like,
Dude,
yeah.
that is the funny thing. It's like, in situations like that, it's like, you're forgetting what would happen if you went through with it like that. It would just wouldn't have worked anyway. It would have been miserable. I mean, so it's like, yeah, it sucks now, but like it's better, isn't it, that you're facing it? I think that's the funny thing though. We imagine so often that we have limited options, and we forget to see that there are other possibilities. Like, because it's almost like we pretend like you said, like, you felt trapped between like ruining her life and this. And it's like, well, there are other options. There's still other things. You cannot do it. And it might hurt, it might suck, it might be difficult for you yourself, but you'll get through it. And it's always funny though, in those situations, you always feel better, I think. I always notice that whenever I like don't respond to it, or do the thing that I should do anyway, I always feel better immediately, even though it
Mm-hmm.
might still be hard to do. It's like there is that weight's lifted.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I felt infinitely better afterwards. And then there's something now. Like, it's one of those things where we talk about this, how like getting old is probably one of the greatest gifts you could ever get, because you have like all these experiences to look back on, and good or bad, you gain stuff from them, and it gives you such perspective, because especially over the past few years, like I can't wait from 40 to 60, because those are supposed to be the best years of your life. But like over the past few years, like it's just been getting better and better and better. I'm like, wow, this is absolutely insane. Like I feel
Yeah.
sorry for anybody under 35.
It actually gets easier. It's weird. Yeah. Yeah. Which I never would have thought too, because it's funny because I think it feels easy when you're like 18, but it's really not. And you really don't know anything. And most of the time, what you're doing is just socially generated bullshit anyway. You're just doing actions that you think you should do because everybody else is doing it, because you don't know what else to do because that's what's been presented to you. You're not really doing like
Mm-hmm.
what's for you. So I think that's true. I hope most people start to be themselves at about that point, which would make sense, right? Because you're kind of over that hump of all the expectations and bullshit. And now you can start living your life.
Oh yeah, yeah. So how do you deal with guilt?
I mean, I usually just try and think about, one, I try not to respond to it because it annoys me anymore so much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in this instance, I didn't feel an obligation, so I thought I didn't have to feel guilty. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it too, because it's trying to target your sense of obligation, and make you feel bad for failing in some way. But I didn't feel like I was, and I think that's part of it. You have to know yourself enough, because it does hurt though. It always hurts, I mean, that's the point of it, is to try and make it hurt so that you do what the person wants you to do.
Yeah. I was I was reading this book on reality transurfing, which is a really crazy concept, but it's kind of like almost the Tao, like do without
Huh.
doing. But it talked about situations in life where you feel guilty, and then approaching them, intentionally experiencing them, and allowing yourself to not feel guilty in those situations.
Yeah.
Because like part of feeling guilty is actually accepting that guilt.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have to accept it and then feel guilty, so nobody can put guilt on you. It's like what you were saying, is you try not to respond to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because somebody can't, they can try, but they can't actually
Yeah.
put guilt on you. You have
What
to
and
accept it.
it's socially learned, right? So I just stopped responding because we were doing it by text, and I was just like, it's not going to respond anymore. I just stopped responding, and it seemed to work well for me, I guess. But it's like it's always in times too when it's always in times of hugely high emotion too when people are upset, and I think that even from the other person's perspective too. They probably wouldn't necessarily intentionally try and put that on you, but they're in a state of, I think we need to step back more often when we're angry or stressed or frustrated or whatever. I think it's helpful to do that, to step back first before we do things.
Yeah,
it's hard though.
absolutely.
It is hard because, in the moment, it's very easy to just act,
Yep. Well, that's a good thing. Feelings oftentimes get the better of us. And I've been experiencing that a lot lately. Like, I think that I'm probably a little bit under not getting enough sleep, I think. But
I'll do it.
it
Yeah.
yeah, but I definitely feel the effects of that, because I feel a little bit of chronic tiredness, but then like I try and take naps, and whenever I wake up from naps, my body just feels like not good. I just feel like this like yuck, and
Yeah.
so, and if I'm not cognizant of it, I can let that feeling dictate my whole entire thought towards my life. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about this previously, however you're feeling at the moment generally is
Yeah.
like your mindset towards your life. And so I wake up from these naps and I feel ugh. And then all of a sudden, if I don't catch it, I just start going down this whole train about how my life's going to be terrible. And it's just like, yeah.
And it's instant. You feel depressed so fast. I think that's part of the reason too why they say, like you have to recognize that how you respond is up to you, because you have to identify it, but then not respond right away and think it through. Because I've noticed that too, man. Like, it's our emotions and feelings, like they sneak up. They come out of nowhere sometimes, it feels like. And it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of it, which is irrational. And sometimes, I guess it's, probably from like like an evolutionary standpoint, helpful in certain cases. Like, if you're afraid, you should run away or whatever. But like normal circumstances, right? If you're tired, you shouldn't just be immediately depressed. That's insane. Yet it happens, right? It happens to me all the time too. I get like, it's like this negativity just washes over like a wave. And if you're not aware of it, you get caught up in it and it ruins like everything. It's amazing how fast it happens.
I sometimes just laugh to myself at how we're all just really big children.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are. Totally.
Like,
Oh
we
God,
get
so much.
cranky because we're tired and
You
hungry.
it's funny too, and no one knows what the fuck they're doing most of the time. I'm convinced most of us have no idea what we're doing.
And
Most
some
of it's
of
just
us have
making it up and
absolutely
guessing.
no idea.
Yeah. But it's funny. It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also reading this book called what is it? Everyone's an idiot, or Surrounded by Idiots. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's
Well,
this
that's
book
close.
about,
'Cause
like, yeah, categorizing people into 4 different types based on a color. It's pretty interesting, but like basically, this book posits there are 4 distinct types, and pretty much everyone thinks that everyone who's not their type is just a complete idiot, which makes a lot of sense when you think about
yeah.
it, like looking at the
Yeah.
world. Makes a lot of sense.
That's what everybody thinks. If you don't agree with them or if you're this, you're an idiot, right? You just
Hmm.
don't, you're not seeing it clearly like they are, which is also
Right.
funny because I think that's what we forget so often. Like, it's all a construct and we pretend like the way we interpret it is somehow correct and everybody else is wrong. But how would that possibly be the case? Yeah, like it just doesn't make any sense. It's funny.
Yeah.
But I think it's liberating in a sense though, because it takes the pressure off. It really does.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Here's another thought that I was thinking about. So it, I just think it funny that we don't look at like Chuck Norris or Lou Ferrigno with the same esteem that we all look at Elon Musk. And and so here's the reason that I say that.
Okay.
Because like nowadays, having money is equated with like being able to provide for your family. And so everybody thinks that's very good. Like, girls are attracted to that, guys want to emulate that to pick up girls. And so that's like the gold standard money, because we can count it very easily and because certain people have it. But like, go back a few hundred years, and sure, like money was there too, but also very important things were, for protecting your family, were being good at some type of fighting, like Chuck Norris, or being really strong, like Lou Ferrigno. And so,
There you
like,
go.
I just find it funny how people are like, they think Elon Musk is a god, and yet, you know, Chuck Norris is like a B-list movie star or something like that, then same with Lou
I also
Ferrigno.
think Elon Musk made Tesla and he didn't. He licensed the
No, he bought it.
technology. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. And it's funny because like I don't think Elon Musk is that great, but I mean, he's did well for himself, I guess. I think people too they tend to idolize people that are really good at one thing or that really like
And they
maximize
forget that
one
they suck at
thing.
everything else.
Yes. And unfortunately, I think wealth is like one of the easiest things to measure. From an outside perspective, it's yes, he has a shitload of money. We all know that. Like, I mean, it's like it's not a debate. You could debate whether somebody could beat up Chuck Norris, I guess, or not. But it's like, so I think that is part of it. And they get so much more attention nowadays too than they ever did before. Like I don't remember people like before the internet, people didn't talk about the ultra wealthy that way, I don't think, or
No.
follow them around.
And here's the crazy thing is that like the car that he can drive really not that much better than the car that you could drive. The food that he eats doesn't taste much better than the food that you eat. Like there's actually this really ultra wealthy person we've talked about previously. I forget his name, but anyways, he's making like $100 million a year. Plus, well, now he's probably making a lot more than that. But he said that despite what people think, he's eaten at all the fancy restaurants. He's driven all the like really ultra luxury cars, and he's like, despite all of that, Cheesecake Factory is still the best food you can find anywhere, and a Chevy Suburban is still the best car you can buy. And
It's
like,
nice and big,
yeah, this is a guy who's got billions of dollars, and he's like, that's basically it.
What
And yet
they've
everybody
done
still thinks you got to have the billions.
they've done studies that have shown, like, take a car for instance, right? If you have a car that's, I mean, trucks are expensive now, so save a car that's like 60 or 70 grand. Making a car that's 200,000, the level of better you get for that 130,000 isn't that much. Like it exponentially decreases with more price. You might get more rare stuff and whatever, but who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, like it's still going to be a car. I mean, you can't do much else to it to make it so. And if you made it that different, it wouldn't be practical anyway because it wouldn't work in our infrastructure. So it's like, there's like, if you make it on some exotic fuel, it's like not helpful at all. So I think that, yeah, it is. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you can get a bigger house, but at a certain point, like, I mean, do you need all those rooms? Or I think probably the nicest, at least in my head, the thing I imagine that's probably nicest that they do have is they don't have to do a lot of the crap, everyday stuff that I have to do, like my laundry and cleaning, because you can afford to pay people to do that. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, true. But I did find that they do tend to work harder than most people. I've met a lot of like very wealthy people, and they're all workaholics. Like
Yeah.
half of them have a problem where they just can't stop. Like
Well,
I know some dudes who literally like they can't physically sleep more than 3 or 4 hours in a night. So they
yeah,
just keep
yeah.
on working and working and working and working because otherwise they'd be so bored. They'd be bored to
They
tears.
don't know what to do with themselves. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's, they say that too. That's like, because a lot of these people you're talking about have started businesses and stuff. And it's like a trait that a lot of people have that start them. It's like, because you need that at the beginning, when you start something from scratch, generally speaking, you're probably broke. You're probably doing the job of like 40 people because it's just starting out. So it's like you're just working all the time and it's hard to turn that off, I guess, once you get going, which makes
Mm-hmm.
sense too, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's like, and again, I think that's why people need to think about what they really value and what they really want before they go around idolizing these people, because I think a lot of times it's not a life we would want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then also, I think there's a case for never giving up. So I was just listening to some motivational stuff while walking around the park today. And
Never
there was
give
this
up.
one, yeah, exactly. Like never give up. There was this one thing where they were saying you've either got the choice to give up or to keep going. And it's just like, if you really want it, you just never give up. You just keep on going. And that's,
Hey, it's
so,
the
I think
message.
that's,
It's the message in every anime, right? Keep moving forward.
mhm.
Literally.
Yeah, yeah. You have to, like, because there's no reason to quit. And like here's the cool thing is that even if you did quit, you can still pick it up now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that's the coolest thing is that like even like the biggest mistakes you could have made, you could have quit, you could have ruined everything. well, guess what? You can start over again now.
Yeah. Yeah. And time keeps moving. So you kind of have to keep going, right? There's no reason
Mm-hmm.
to stop. But you're right that you can always start again. I think that's the nice thing about life. That's what's great about age too. You realize that you can always just start over. You can always do something different. You can always keep going. And that's what matters.
Yeah, like I love that movie, The Founder, the one about Roy Kroc from McDonald's, Ray Kroc,
Oh, I didn't
the
see that. I
founder
heard
of
it was good
McDonald's.
though.
Oh, dude, go see it. It is actually really, really good. And I love it because like most of his life, he was a complete failure.
Hmm.
Like up until he was in his late 60s, something like that. He was a complete failure, like one after another after another. And he got to this point, he was like, come on, just one time. Let me win just one time. And look at what he did,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And you hear about other
Right.
instances of that, like Colonel Sanders of KFC. He was super old when it happened. Right now, I'm reading this biography of Abe Lincoln. He failed time and time and time again. And there's also that famous Michael Jordan commercial where he's missed like a billion final
Yeah.
shots and like
Yeah.
let down his team time after time after time. And it's because of this that he wins. But it's just like that idea that all you need is one home run and you just got to
Yeah.
keep on trying, like keep going up to bat. You never know when it's going to come, but just keep going up to bat.
And if you keep going up, you'll keep learning more and gaining more each time. And eventually you'll probably hit it. That's true, you know? I mean, eventually you'll probably get something right. And I think that's all that matters. That's just nice. You only need
Mm-hmm.
one. You're right. You did. You
Mm-hmm.
only need one.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So anything else going on in your life?
That's good for now. We'll pick up again later.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Pretty good
Yeah.
otherwise, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's been going well. Just busy. And oh, here's another thing that I wanted to look it up, but I didn't really look it up yet. So maybe we could just talk about it. How
Okay.
to how to actually enjoy boredom. Because I heard, and we spoke about this a long time ago, but I heard that like Olympic athletes and a lot of like star athletes, the reason that they're so good is because they're okay dealing with boredom. Like they're okay continuing to do the same thing even though they're bored. And so that
Well, you
was
have to
something that
be
I,
right to do it, or you can't do that kind of like. I mean, if you're going to train every day for 8 hours, you have to be okay with it, or you go insane. Yeah.
so that's something that I've been personally like trying to figure out how to become okay with boredom.
Try to abstract from it, you know. Like, okay, so say I'm gonna just use an example. Say you're doing schoolwork. I'm imagining that's what you're bored with. At least personally, that's what I'm thinking. So if that's the case, just try to abstract from it and just think of it like, okay, yes, if I have to read 60 pages, I just have to read these because like I know what I want. The goal is this is part of the goal. I just got to do it. And I may enjoy it, I may not, but just get it. It's more about just getting it done. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
not having that feeling of because really it really when you're getting lost in boredom, you're letting your feelings, right, dictate more than your rational side. And you really
Yeah.
it's probably because you don't want to do it. That's probably what it is. It's probably you just don't want to do it. So you're trying to make excuses for
Because
yourself.
I want the long term thing, but the short term I don't want.
Dude, it's always the case. Yeah, yeah. So just try and abstract and look at the short term as just the necessary part of it, you know? Take it an
Uh,
hour at a time or a day at a time, you know, or just say, I'm going to do this for 2 hours and then I'm going to do something else for half an hour. Give yourself a break.
mm, that's a good
Yeah.
one. I like that. Thank you.
But just look at it what it is. It's just a task. It's not bad, you know, make yourself a cup of
Mm-hmm.
tea or something, sit down and just do it, you know? I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's a good approach.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. So I think that's it for me.
That's it for
Yeah.
me
So
too.
we talked
Well,
about a lot of stuff today. We
yeah,
talked about death.
I'm
We talked
Lou
about
Ferrigno,
boredom. We talked about greed. We talked about Lou
guilt.
Ferrigno and Chuck Norris. Yeah. Quite an episode. So yeah, thank you so much all for
Yeah.
joining us for this freestyle episode of the Existential Stoic podcast. You can check us out on all the podcasting services,
Yes.
also on YouTube as well if you want to see our pretty faces. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Eddie.